Good evening, WHT family. Welcome to another episode of Talk Truth. Yes, so happy to have you, reminding you that Talk Truth is your safe space and your safe place where we tackle the issue of childhood sexual abuse and help women who are on their road of healing. I'm Popson Francis, and Talk Truth is brought to you by Women Healing Together and the LAX Society. Reminding you also that you can follow Women Healing Together on or IG, Women Healing Together, obviously on our Facebook, right? At Women Healing Together and our YouTube channel. Let me pause before I go any further. In telling you thanks for over 100 subscribers. This is our fourth episode of Talk Truth, and we are so grateful to you for everyone who clicked the subscribe button, for everyone who tapped the notification bell, for every single woman, even men, boy, girl, all of you, WHT family, who have made it possible. Thank you so much. And continue to share, continue to encourage others to subscribe and to be a part of WHT. Because as I always say, we heal so much better when we heal together. We are just beginning, and we want to impact every single woman in this world who needs a safe space and a safe place to discuss issues that concern them. So again, thank you so very much. Now, let's get the ball rolling. Again, I'm Popson Francis, your host, and for episode 4, can you imagine episode 4 already? Our topic is, can I heal? So many women are asking this question, having been or because we are survivors of childhood sexual abuse trauma, having gone through that experience and the many effects that follow. The big question that all of us at some point in time have asked ourselves is, can I really heal? Can I really get over this? Is there hope at the end of the tunnel? We are answering that question. And to help us answer that question today is our very own sister, officially a part of the Women Healing Together family and host of episode, not host, but guest, sorry, of episode 4, Mrs. Taneisha Newland-Spencer. So help us. Welcome. Hi, Taneisha.
Hi, Foxanne. Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. Thank you for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
We know that you are long time Women Healing Together family.
Yes.
You have been here every week
Oh,
supporting
yes.
the ladies, commenting in the live chat, and we appreciate you so much.
It's been very interesting, extremely interesting. And so I make sure I set my alarm so I don't miss a session.
All right, that right there is a talk truth treasure. That right there is a talk truth treasure. It's on speed for you. Taneisha says, listen, I put it in my calendar so I don't miss it. And we're asking you, WHT family, to do the same. We are here the first and the third Wednesday of each month, really talking the truth and exposing the issues, sensitizing the issues, and really developing and helping ourselves as women. Yes. So we're happy to be here.
Thank you.
We are on Wednesday night, but Taneisha is already experiencing Thursday. Am I correct?
Thursday morning.
What time is it there in Tokyo, Japan? All right, we're having a little freeze there. We wait until we get back, Taneisha. But Taneisha is actually joining us from Tokyo, Japan. And she's about 14 hours ahead of us. So for the first time on Talk Truth, we are having two ladies, two different time zones, experiencing 2 different days. You see how powerful our family is? Taneisha, welcome back. So
Thank
what time
you.
is it in
Yes.
Japan?
It is actually now 10:06 a.m.
That is I'm telling you, it's amazing how we can connect and be a family of women all over the world.
Yes, yes.
Taneisha, before we get into the topic for today, I want you to share a special story before I give them all the nice things about you. I want you to share with the ladies the power of women being so far apart, not even knowing each other, but finding that common place and that common ground and really connecting and becoming sisters and becoming friends. When we talk about women healing together, and we're saying we want to reach every single woman who wants to heal from something, who wants to develop. And some of the women maybe say, no, social media, it doesn't work. I'm not going to really feel as if I'm a part of the Women Healing Together family. I don't know you, Pakistan. I don't know your guest. I want you to share with the sisters how you and I met and
Well,
how we have become friends.
oh dear. I thought about it last night and I said, I need to share this. So, everybody, WHD family, thank you for having me. And I want to tell you, I've known Popson for
Freeze me
30
again.
years.
For how many years?
About 3 months going on 30 years. That's what it feels like. Now, as she mentioned, sometimes we say social media, no, I can't talk to anybody from there. That's not true. I actually met Popson on LinkedIn. Yes, you heard me right. I met her on LinkedIn. Actually, it was I think it was a Sabbath morning. Yeah, Friday night, close to midnight. I just picked up my phone and just before going to bed, I saw a message just popped up in the feed. And there's this beautiful lady talking about her journey, what she has been on. And I thought to myself, why does that sound so much like me? There's just this parallel. And so I said, I need to send her a message, I'm going to send her a message just to say hello, to say I read your message and I was really heartened. But the thing is, I've never done that before. But I sent her a message anyway. And I kept checking my phone after to see if she responded because I'm thinking, social media, no, sir. She don't have the time,
No
She
connection.
already has her friends. But then I remember when I saw the response, I was dancing all over the place and I thought, she responded. Like, she did. And then since then, it has been a connection that's second to none. And so when I said it feels like 3 months going on 30 years, that's really how it feels. Because it's just since August we met.
Yes,
Just
yes,
August.
yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that tea. And I did everything she has said. Everything she has said is correct. Ladies, you are joining Talk Truth tonight. And you may be saying, the connection, I don't think it's going to happen. Or you are a regular, you are part of the family. And you may be thinking about another sister who you may be saying, she won't join, she won't be a part of the community, she won't subscribe because I don't think she'll be connected here. Never underestimate the power of reaching out. Never underestimate the power of just putting yourself out there. And you, as I always say, this is your safe space and your safe place. No judgment. Nobody here is better than anybody. We're all on the road of healing. And we're going to start to talk the truth now. The question is, can I heal? Taneisha, Taneisha has experience in education. She is an educator. She has also done studies in counseling, psychology, and psychotherapy. She has over 10 years of experience in her field, right? Cumulative experience in her field. Not only has she done studies in psychology and psychotherapy, but she's also a wellness and nutrition coach. So talk about the complete package. This is a young woman, a member of Women Healing Together community who has not only studied the brain, not only studied how people learn and process information to bring about change, but she has also studied about wellness and nutrition. And she's here to share her expertise. I am so excited. Talk about blessings and salutation. Let's get into it. T,
Yes,
what is healing?
my dear. All right. Now, for healing, I can go very complex or I can go very simple.
Yes,
But
let's
I'll tell
make
you,
it practical and simple for the normal lady who is listening. She's
the
asking, what is
regular
that? What
person.
that looks like?
Because in order for us to heal, we have to understand what it is that we're dealing with. Now, from a dictionary perspective or from a Western perspective, healing is seen as being restored or restoring something to its previous state to make whole again. That's the general term. But then you have physical healing and then there's emotional healing. And they're two different things. Two different things. Here, we're looking at not just physical, we're looking at emotional healing. Right. Now, here's something I want everybody to pay attention to. For physical healing, it needs rest. So if you get a cut or something is wrong with you physically, you go to the doctor. They tell you, oh, fix it up and go get some rest. For emotional healing, it needs work.
Whoa, 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 hold on, hold on, hold on. That is a talk through treasure right there. For physical healing, we
Yes.
need rest.
Yes.
Talk through treasure. But for emotional healing, we need work.
And lots of it.
All right. So for our WHT family, you are watching right now. What do you think about that talk through treasure? Do you agree that in order for us to heal from childhood sexual trauma emotionally, that we need to work? Doesn't healing just happen like that? Give us your views. Yes, T, go ahead.
No, it doesn't just happen because for emotional healing, you have to be able to acknowledge the circumstances or whatever events that happened in your lives, the ones that are hindering you or preventing you from moving forward. And so healing is oftentimes a very slow and long process. It doesn't happen overnight because we have to allow it to it's a matter of processing the things that allow us to take control of how we think, how we feel, and ultimately our behavior. Because remember, what we think, it affects what we say, and what we say, it affects what we do. So that's
Mm.
the order there.
Ah, something just popped in my head, and I don't know if our viewers have this question. And again, we're encouraging our Talk Truth family, our Women Healing Together family. Feel free to ask your questions. This is an open space, and please ask your questions, give your comment. If something really resonates with you, put it in the chat. If you are in doubt about something, you disagree with something, let us know and let us communicate. T, you
Yeah.
said something. You said in order for healing to take place, there must be an acknowledgement of what has happened. Are
Yes.
you therefore saying if a sister is in denial that she cannot start her healing journey?
Mhm. Sometimes it's not denial that you can't start the journey. Sometimes it's denial about what happened. Because oftentimes we take the ostrich point of view or the babies. If you cover your eyes or if you cover your head and you can't see, then it means that it didn't happen or it's not there. And so oftentimes persons who have been exposed to trauma, they tend to try to block it or to bury it somewhere, put it in a little dark corner and say, if you stay here, then it never happened.
Mm. And that's a way of coping. But here we are being challenged. So if you are listening, if you are here with us, you're sharing that link, you're engaged in the conversation. I want you to put in the chat, the live chat, hashtag challenge. Taneisha is telling us that we have to challenge ourselves because it takes work. It's not something that happens overnight. So it leads us to the next question. Yes, healing is restoring to that place of wholeness before the innocence was taken away, before the trauma happened. Yes, we have to put work in it and we have to challenge ourselves. But does healing look different for various ladies? Does it look the same for me as it looks for you?
I want to back up a little bit because I noticed you mentioned about the restoring to before the trauma happens. And I think sometimes that is where, we tend to have issues because or it is our vision or our outlook of what healing is. That is what sometimes puts us on the back end because we are looking at restoring to what it was like before. Now, in Japan, they have an art form that's called kintsugi, where they take broken things and they use some lacquer or like nail varnish, like a varnish, and precious metals like gold or silver, and they will use that to mend the thing that was broken. And then when they mend it, you can actually look at it and you can see all the lines where the crack.
It happens, guys. We are on separate parts of the world, right? She's in the east, I'm in the west. So we are experiencing some technological issues, but I know she'll be back as soon as she can. But as we wait for T to get reconnected, what a powerful thought she left us with. And she's dropping some talk truth treasures again. Many times when we think about healing, our thought is, I want to be restored to how it was before. So if you meet in an accident, I want to be restored to how it was before the accident. For those of us who are survivors of childhood sexual trauma, we want to be restored to the innocence before the trauma happened. But T is helping us to understand, my sisters. T is helping us to understand that we have grown over the period. The trauma has shaped us, and we can't deny it. So many of us, it has shaped us negatively, and that is why Women Healing Together is here, so we can learn how we can develop positively out of something that has been so traumatic and so devastating. T is reminding us that, listen, it's from the broken pieces. It is from the experiences. It's from the journey of healing. It is from being a member of Women Healing Together. It is from being engaged in counseling. It's from talking to a friend or a family member, someone you trust, and putting those pieces together and just aligning them with your personality and your purpose and everything that has to do with you and your journey that brings you out on the other side. You may not revert, and none of us will revert to purely how we were before the trauma, but what we become afterwards can be something absolutely fascinating. You are here with us. If you are in agreement with this, if you disagree, let us know. Do you think that healing means going back before the stage of the trauma? Or do you think it means that you may look different after healing has taken place? You may look different while healing has taken place. Let's have this conversation. I would love, love, love to hear your perspective and to hear your views. Just type them in the chat, type them in the comment section. So it looks different for many of us. As we continue to heal, it is going to look different. I may come on one side of my healing journey feeling empowered to share openly, to talk about what has happened, to create a ministry, to create a business, to just be out there and to just publicly share. But that may not be your direction of healing. You may not feel as if you want to go out, and you may not feel as if you want to tell publicly people what has happened to you, but in your own little corner, you may say, I don't want to share publicly, but I may want to help someone by talking to person on a one-on-one basis. That may be my healing. Somebody else's healing may be, okay, I am ready to have an intimate relationship with the opposite sex, though I was sexually abused by a member of the opposite sex, and that may be fine. You may go on to get married and feel comfortable and work through the issues that have resulted as a result of the trauma. But for someone else, the person may say, no, I may not want to get married. I may not want to have a relationship. I want to be celibate. So it looks different for different people. And this is a critical point. And let me tell you why it is critical. Though we want to draw from each other's strength, and though we value community, because we know that when we share and when we come together, that we heal so much better, we cannot say that my healing journey should be identical to yours, because what that results in is you may feel frustrated. Why is it that I can't share public? I've not healed. Why is it that I am still grappling with anger? I've not healed. Why is it that I cannot forgive? I've not healed. Everybody's healing journey is different. And I remember being a guest on a podcast a few months ago, and I said to the host, I said, listen, everybody's stage is different. You do the best you can in the very best way you can with the support that you have. All right. We're still experiencing technical difficulties. So we're going to have a conversation today, and feel free to chime in, chip in. Oh, she's back. Wonderful. We missed you.
My apologies. My apologies. I was just saying to myself that I've not only appeared on Talk Truth as a guest, but
Yes.
I've also made history.
We're happy you're back. And we were just talking through some of the treasures, the talk through treasures that you dropped. So let's
Yes, I
go
was
to
listening.
yes, so let's go to number 3. Does healing mean that there is no feeling of hurt? A sister is saying, I've not healed because I still feel hurt. Talk to her. Help her to understand that dynamic.
Well, the first thing I want to say is that even though you are healing and you can see signs, remember that our bodies will always remember the trauma that it went through. And so from time to time, there might be little things or big things that might act as a trigger, and it will cause us to remember. Now, when we remember those, sometimes we will relive the pain or the hurt that we went through. And it doesn't mean that you're not healing. It just means that your body or your mind will react to it. So even though you're healing, it doesn't mean that you're going to always get over the hurt. But it is what you do that is what is going to make the difference.
Yes. There's a connection, though you made a distinction, a very important distinction between physical healing and emotional healing. I
Mhm.
think we can learn a lot about emotional healing from physical healing, though there are two different dynamics. Because
Now,
yes, go ahead.
here is something that's very important to understand too. Take, for example, you have a physical wound. Um, what happens is that you can always go, you can clean it up, you can bandage it, and you can leave it, and then the body will naturally heal itself. But if, for example, something should be stuck under it, like a thorn or a piece of stick or a splinter, then it's not going to heal, because that thing is always going to be inside, still creating havoc. And until that splinter or foreign matter is removed, then it's not going to heal. So for emotional healing, it is still the same way. Until we clear our psychological space, we declutter. So, for us women, one of the coping strategies that we have, and a lot of us tend to utilize it, is we compartmentalize things.
Yeah.
We put them into little boxes and we pack them away. Because once we do that, it means that we're safe.
Trying to cope.
Trying to cope. But it's the same trying to cope mechanism that tends to put different persons on different I would say levels of the healing spectrum or the healing continuum, because healing is not a destination, in my opinion. I think it's a journey. It's a journey. And as long as you've been through trauma, and you're going to always be going through that healing process. So you might get over some things, but there is always something else that is going to be constantly impacting and shaping you.
Ah, I love that. I love that because so many times, T, when we think of healing, there's a misconception, and that was one of the questions I had for you. Is
Mhm.
there a goalpost? Is there a destination that if I don't reach that destination, then I can never heal?
No, no, because remember, there is biodiversity. We're all different individuals,
Yes.
and what your healing popsan might look like for you, it's not going to look the same for me, because it is what we do. It you see, our environment, our mindset, the things that we immerse ourselves in, those are the things that's going to determine the level of our healing, the how you would say now, how quickly you recover from something. But you always have to be mindful that you don't set yourselves up for failure by thinking that, oh, if I move from point A to Z, it means that I'm healed. That's not it.
Yes, here's a question coming in from YouTube from Shireen. Shireen says, healing is getting to the root of whatever situation has affected you in the past. We normally beat on the branches, which is the product of the oh, the
That's it.
Shireen.
That's it, Sherry. That's
Yes,
it.
and can, uh, when we think about the effects of childhood sexual trauma, Tanisha, and
Mhm.
they're very depending on who, as you said, the mindset, the environment, how persons reacted to you. Was there disbelief? Was there support? And so many times people look at the branches, as Shireen says. Oh, she's angry. Oh, she is shameful. Oh, she is aggressive. Oh, she's promiscuous. She's insecure. Not going to the root. And the onlookers may see it that way, but we as survivors also see it that way. We tend to look at, oh, I am not this, I am not that, or oh, I do this, I do that, as it were, compartmentalizing, packing away the very source of what is. Ooh,
And that
wow.
is why we have to be mindful. We have to be mindful of how we look at self. We have to be mindful of the persons that we go to for help, because I'll say this, and it's not meant to be any offense or disrespect to professionals, but not all persons are equal. And when I say that, I mean it, because everybody can go and amass qualifications, and everybody can be a therapist or a counselor or a psychologist. But here is the key point: not everyone is a good fit for you. Not everyone is a good fit for you. So you have to be careful of where you go to unburden or to relieve yourself, because sometimes you might end up walking away feeling worse than how you went in. Because just like what Popson said earlier, we have to look at all of those things, because what it is for me might not be the same thing for somebody else. And most times, persons who have not gone through trauma, they cannot understand it from someone who has experienced it perspective.
They
And that's the
can't.
difference.
They
No.
can't. I remember just recently you and I were having a conversation and you made a powerful point. You said, listen, healing sometimes, or it will take maybe a lifetime, because we are developing, we are unearthing, we are discovering. But the
Mhm.
good
Mhm.
thing is that we are now in charge of our triggers. That
Right.
is
Yes.
what gives us the edge in the healing process,
Mhm.
right? And I remember saying to you, we're being vulnerable here because this is a safe space and a safe place. I've overcome a lot of issues. I've overcome anger. I've overcome so many things. But from time to time, the victim mindset makes itself to the fore. And
Yes.
I go in defense mode. And sometimes
Mhm.
my husband has to say to me, why are you fighting? Why you feel the need to always protect yourself?
Mhm.
Why are you in defense mode? I just ask you a simple question. And then I have to know, just back out of myself and say, Popsan, you realize what's happening here? Your husband is not your abuser. Why do you think you need to be defensive and you need to go on the attack? Let me attack you before you try to hurt me emotionally or any other alley. And it then begs the question, T, you have been saying, yes, it looks different to different for different people, but to a
Mhm.
sister who is listening and watching tonight, practically, what can healing look like?
All right. There are lots of signs that can tell you whether or not you are growing or you're healing. One, first thing first is that you're going to become more emotionally intelligent. Yes, you're going to be more aware of what you're experiencing. So you are not just angry or moody or whatever it is that we want to say, and you don't know what it is. You're able to place a name to what you're feeling. So that's one, your emotional intelligence. Also, there is no automatic second guessing or doubting yourself. Your confidence level has soared because oftentimes persons who have experienced trauma tend to have this lingering shame, that just drags you down, and you think to yourself that oh boy, no, there's absolutely nothing good that can happen in my life. So when you've gotten to a stage where you start to feel confident about things, you realize that yes, that's a little sign that I'm growing. Also, when you start to set and work on realistic goals, because oftentimes we tend to be laid back. We don't want to be a part of anything at all. We self isolate and we push people away from us. So, those are some of the things that you can look at and you can know that you're also growing and healing. Another thing is you're able to set boundaries, rigid ones too, rigid, because there are different types of boundaries. But oftentimes, persons who have been abused, you just go where the wind blows you. When you're able to say, this is what I want, or I don't want this, you know that growth and healing is taking place.
I'm telling you, our student engineer is just with us. He's like, yes, I received that talk through treasure. Yes. And I'm receiving it too. And when we talk about boundaries, a lot of people translate that to mean, oh, in Jamaica we say, oh, she money, or she's promiscuous, so wherever her body leads her, that's where she goes. There's some of us who may not have been affected in terms of becoming promiscuous, but what about emotionally? The inability to say, go ahead, I see you, I see, go ahead.
You see, this is something that we have to understand, that what trauma does to us is that it impairs our ability or capability to function in a manner that you would have were you not exposed to certain levels of abuse. And so what you will find happening is that sometimes persons who are abused will go to this end or that end of the spectrum. You'll find some persons who are completely closed off. You cannot approach them. They are fearful of everybody. They don't get involved in any relationships, whether it be social or interpersonal or intimate relationships. And then there are others at the very end of the spectrum, who will just say whatever. And so it's not that they necessarily want to be involved with somebody sexually, but this is another dynamic where sometimes persons who are abused, they tend to mirror what happened to them before. And so in trying to find love or affection or some attention, they will end up with somebody else who is abusing them. They will do things to abuse themselves and they might not even recognize it. And so when you look at it, you realize that trauma, it is not just the physical thing or the physical man, it's the mental man. And that is why a complete overhaul and teaching the brain how to process, sorry, how to
Yes.
reprocess information that comes in. Because trauma, what we process and store is not the actual event, you know.
Mm,
It's not
mm.
the event.
Hold on, wait, let me drink a little water. Hold on.
No, it is not the event that we store. So it is not the sexual assault. It is not the hits. No, it is the emotions. It is what you feel when those things happen to you. That is what the brain stores. And that is why, in order for healing to take place, we now have to have a complete processing of all of this. And until we completely process all of what happens, you're always going to be stuck in the middle where every time something that looks like what happened comes your way, it's a trigger. So just like you said, Popson, sometimes your husband will say to you, hey, but because you might see something and it might not even be anything that's very overt.
Yes.
It can just be the placing of a hand on your shoulder. And you might remember that when I was younger, somebody used to place their hand on my shoulder, and that's a trigger. So that is what your brain stores. And this is why it is important for persons who have been exposed to trauma to get help. And the first thing you can do is to expose it.
Mm. Oh, look, my brain is just going. Let me start with the last point. The first thing you have to do is to expose it. Talk to us, sister. What can that look like? Does that look like going on top of the mountain and screaming in the entire community, I was sexually abused? Everybody, what does talk truth, Taneisha?
Exposure, it comes in many different forms. The whole purpose of exposure is not to just have it locked up in your head. Because when you keep it here, that is when it traps you and it holds you down. So in exposing, like sometimes when I talk with clients, there are several things that we do. We practice mindfulness. We can talk about that. Well, we need a whole day. We can do mindfulness. You can do journaling. You can talk to a therapist, or you can talk to somebody that you know. Personal experience, what I found to be the best thing for me was to actually talk. The more I talked about it, the less of an effect it had on me.
Can I just interject right here, Madam Counselor?
Yes.
Someone has been listening to you just drop some nuggets, some talk through treasures right here. And in her head, she's saying, you study this thing. That is why you know so much. Yeah, you're a counselor. You study psychology and psychotherapy. But no, even I want, how do you know, Taneisha Newland, how do you know that healing is possible? Degrees aside, how do you know?
You see, oftentimes I've been told that you cannot tell how hot the water is until you stick your own foot in it. So somebody else can tell you, and that's vicarious experience. But when you have an authentic experience, then you know. And I'm saying to every single WHT family member out there, I know.
Mm-hmm.
I know. And so when you can talk about what happened, I'm sorry, we work and play. When you can talk about what happens to you, it removes the shame from it. And once that, it's like a best kept secret, because everybody knows abuse is one of the most public secrets that's out there now. One of the most public secrets. And when you're able to expose it and to talk about it, it no longer has that power over you because you're no longer ashamed. I talk about it and I'm no longer ashamed. So guess
I
what?
talk about it and I'm no longer ashamed.
If somebody brings it up, because see, this is what always happens with us, you know. We tend to close ourselves off in a little corner because we say, oh boy, if anybody at my workplace knows about this, they're going to push me aside. If people in the community knows. I remember I said to one of my clients once, pick your nastiest potion and drink that one first. Because what it means is that everything else that comes after cannot taste as nasty as that one. And that's what I'm saying to every WHT family member. Expose it. So when somebody else talks about it, or there's a little snickering or bickering, you're like Teflon. You know, like nothing sticks to you. It rolls off like water off a duck's back. Yes.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for sharing that because, as I always say, we have to share, and sharing may look different. And I'm happy about some of the techniques. You're saying you don't have to come on Talk Truth and share your experience. Journaling is one of the
Journaling. And that's something that I promote a lot because you can, when you write it down, it means that you're taking it out of your head. You're also able to look at it. You're attaching labels to what you feel. And once you can do that, it means that eventually, and remember I said at first, it's a long process. So today, when you talk about it or when you write about it, you might cry and you might even ball up the things, you might throw it away. And because all those emotions that you stored, they are raw and fresh. But guess what? When you go to write it tomorrow again or write a little bit of it, how you felt yesterday, the degree of it that you feel today is a little bit less. And each time it lessens and lessens until before you know it, you don't even see it. Mm-hmm.
Can we heal from childhood sexual trauma as we have survived? Yes, but can we heal? Taneisha Newland-Spencer, all the way from Tokyo, Japan, is saying to us, yes, we can heal. It may look different for all of us. There is no specific timeline, but there
No.
are ways that we can measure our healing. Looking at where you were yesterday and where you are today, whether it's one step or 100, let us celebrate our journey, our healing journey. Taneisha, thank you so very much for being with us on Talk Truth this evening,
It was
morning
my
for you.
pleasure. It was my pleasure.
And you have dropped so many Talk Truth nuggets. I want to remind our WHT family, as women, we should always support each other. And I'm going to take this opportunity to tell you some things about this lady. The first thing I want to tell you is that you should go over right now to Instagram after Talk Truth is finished, and I want you to search for Coco. That's KOKO underscore Kale. And if we could put that on screen, that's on IG. KOKO underscore Kale, KALE. Search for her, follow her. You will not be disappointed. As I told you, she's a wellness and nutrition coach. If you want to talk about losing weight, if you want to talk about getting control over your appetite, if you want to learn about vegetarian or veganism, if you just want a change, somebody said, talk truth with about a dozen exclamation points. Yes, go and follow Taneisha at Tina D Natural Health and Lifestyle Coaching. It's an investment because yes, we want to heal emotionally, but the physical healing is also important because what
And
we, yes,
there's free focused journaling. Free.
ah,
Yes.
wonderful. Wonderful, right? Because many times what we put inside of us, not many times, all the time, what we put inside of us affects here.
Yes.
It affects here. I also want you to know, thank you so much, Sakleen in studio. Also want you to know that Tanisha is a literacy specialist. So for those mothers out there, Women Healing Together family, you're still trying to do this homeschooling thing. You have the children at home. Look here, at Women Healing Together, we have every single skill you can think of. So go over, follow her on IG, DM her, look for her on LinkedIn, and see how we can also help our children with the literacy issues. She will be able to help you. Women Healing Together, we are family and we have every single thing you need right here. Again, thank you for joining us. And as I always say, we heal so much better when we heal together. Remember to subscribe. Remember to share, 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 and also talk the truth, because the truth will set you free. I will see you the third Wednesday in December, where we are going to be talking about some things. Time to talk about the brain. Time to talk about your brain. See you, and thank you so much for joining us. Take care. Speak the truth.